Thank you. Good morning, everybody. So I will take you through the process. How do we collect data on building stock in the Czech Republic? It has 6 steps. Unfortunately, we don't have EPC registers at the moment, but the Ministry of Industry and Trade plans to do so, and currently is dealing with the IT companies and IT department on how exactly it should look like. So that's the future, I believe, also for the Czech Republic. But so far we have to go different way. So step 1, we collected what is known. We had some estimates from 2001 census on residential buildings. We had some studies on non-residential building stocks, what's the number of the buildings, what's the size of the buildings, and we had several studies assessing energy efficiency potential, including the international ones like World Energy Outlook in 2012 that has the energy efficient world scenario included in it. But as overall, the data are not, or so far they were not really good or reliable. There were lots of flaws in the data, and there were no data in the investment needed. So what happened that we move forward? That's the Energy Efficiency Directive and the obligation for the member states to submit renovation strategies by April 2014. That was the main motivation and crucial driver for the Czech Republic and for the Ministry of Industry and Trade to move forward with the data collection. The government actually assigned us, Transport Buildings, as the external contractor to develop a draft renovation roadmap, including data collection. So step 3, sorting data on residential buildings. As Alexandra mentioned, although in Czech Republic in 2011 there was a statewide census that was organized by the Czech Statistical Office, which dealt with the residential buildings, number of people and number of residential dwellings. However, as it appeared, the Czech Statistical Office didn't have the data in really readable format or useful format, useful aggregation that would be utilized for developing the renovation roadmap. So under the mandate of the Ministry of Industry and Trade, we actually communicated with the Czech Statistical Office, and it was my colleague doing the lots of arms work and shifting the data categories so that it could be used for the renovation roadmap. At the end, we have quite good data on the residential building stock, as in terms of number of buildings and floor area. Then we needed to estimate the current energy performance of the building stock. So we did a research on the development of energy performance throughout the years, throughout the age of buildings, and we have 7 age bands for the buildings, and for each age band we need to assign certain energy performance. So we did a research on U values and other features of buildings. Here I have to again confirm that the tabular study is really very helpful. We did model typical energy performance for 28 non-renovated building categories, which is 7 age bands and 4 building sizes. The model takes 1,000 hypothetical buildings of different shapes and size and actually calculates the energy performance of that category. Then we needed to do research of already renovated buildings, which is important information to know. However, if you look in the long term to 2050, even the buildings that were renovated recently or are built now will be probably renovated again by 2050, but still it's important information. And we modeled also typical energy performance of 8 renovated building categories, which is 2 energy performance levels and 4 types of buildings. At the end, the calculated consumption of the buildings was, let's say, 1.5 times higher than the real data that the Ministry of Industry and Trade collects and submits to Eurostat and International Energy Agency. So we needed to adjust calculated data to the real data that is caused because all buildings are not often heated to the calculated 20 degrees, but they're heated to less degrees in order to save money. So that was the current building stock. Now what we are looking at is also what is the volume of the opportunity, how much energy we can save in the buildings. So what we did with the building stock, we modeled its renovation, its energy efficiency renovation to better energy standards. There was the low energy standard and the passive or nearly zero energy standard. And you can see that the calculated savings, at least on the space heating, were really significant, 45% for the low energy standard renovations and 81% savings for the passive energy standard renovation. What we get also out of the model is the area of renovated building parts, like outdoor walls, windows, roofs, a number of installed technologies, boilers, ventilation units with heat recovery, etc. That's important because then we can figure out the needed investment costs to transform the building stock into high energy performing standards. If I didn't put in the Czech number, but if you extrapolate the Czech number to the European numbers, then you get to roughly the 100 billion euro a year, which is communicated by the European Commission and business associations in Europe. So we basically cross-check that the Czech number could be roughly okay, or it's in line with the European numbers. As was already mentioned, that this information on the needed investment costs and the volume of materials and construction work that you need is also important for the construction industry, because you can plan the business for the time ahead. So those were the residential buildings. Where we struggle much more is the non-residential sector, tertiary sector. We have some estimates how many schools, how many administrative buildings we have in the Czech Republic, but the reliability of the available data is questioned, rightly questioned. And we hope that the better data on the state-owned buildings we will have available by the end of 2017, which means within 1 month, because that's the deadline for sending the inventory for the central government buildings to the European Commission accordingly to the Article 5 of the Energy Efficiency Directive. But the registry fills up very slowly, so I would say that we will probably, or the Czech government will miss probably the deadline, and hopefully we will get some more reliable data on the public buildings then. We have to estimate, but there will be the central government buildings, but we have to still estimate number, size, age of the regional and municipal public buildings and commercial buildings. As I said, we have some estimates, but we question how much they are reliable. Then we run when we get the data, when we estimate better data, then we run a similar modeling for tertiary sector buildings in order to get the level of investment cost and level of energy savings that we can get out of the modernization. Roughly, we now say that about 25% of the floor area of all building stock in the Czech Republic goes to the public buildings. So let's say 75% we have of residential buildings we have covered by good data, good quality data, and 25% of buildings, public buildings, we will have covered by less reliable data. So that was a brief introduction of the process that we are in the middle of now, and I'm happy to answer your question at the end.